Hey, shalom, brothers.
Shalom.
Hey, we want to give all praises to
Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashem, Rakakwadash.
A double honor to the apostles and elders that rule well. And peace and blessings to you brothers out there that keep his word and sincere on the truth. And also peace and blessings to you sisters out there that are listening. We wanted to come with a sit down going into the porches of the temple. When you look at the heathens, a lot of these heathens are able to come over here and they're able to flourish in our various communities. Case in point, I was talking to the brother, and I was telling him that, you know, a lot of these Elamites, they have communities, you know, in the suburbs of Dallas, you see, and a huge catalyst to that was what? The fact that they had these various temples, mosques, and things of that nature in a certain community, right? Because with that mosque, it's not just a place of worship; it embodies so much. You see, it embodies a standard. You see, and this is what we lack in our so-called community, man. See, our understanding about love is something that's very fickle and very emotional. You see, and it changes with the wind, man. That's why I talked about that in Jeremiah the 17th chapter. The heart is deceitfully wicked above all things. You know it. Can we grab it right quick? Yeah. I don't want it to be dry talk. You know, the heart is deceitfully wicked above all things. Who can know it? So when we, our so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans, our concept of love is based off of what makes us feel good and also acceptance, man. It is also, and that's very, you know, that's a very small aspect of what love is. Love is a standard. It's an obligation. You see what I'm saying? Go ahead,
This is Jeremiah 17:9. The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it?
That's right. When you look up that word heart in the Hebrew, is la, which means mind. You see? So when people say it's all about love and we need love in our so-called communities, they're actually correct. But what is love? You see? What's that? 1 John 5:3? Kind of the water out. Love is following after the commandments. You see? A set of rules that was given, that was bestowed unto us by Yahweh, by Yeshua, Yahweh Shai. You dig what I'm saying?
That's right.
Go ahead, Al.
Yeah. 1 John 5 and actually I started at verse 2. By this we know that we love the children of the Most High, when we love the Most High and keep His commandments. Verse 3, for this is the love of the Most High, that we keep His commandments, and His commandments are not grievous.
That's right. His commandments are not grievous, man. And when we say you love somebody, you're basically treating that person how you want to be treated. You see, under the understanding of the law, statute, and commandments. You see, and that understanding was taken away from us, man. Right? Now we're dealing with Deuteronomy 28 and 54. If one brother want to grab that, I get it. To where when you see somebody that look like you, whether it be a so-called Negro, Latino, or Native American, man, that's automatic enmity, man.
Hey, we even encountered that today. You know, we seen a Jake walking up the street that was looking kind of sketchy on a certain side of town, and automatically we was like, this guy up to something. You know, and it was probably true. You know, it was probably true.
Yeah.
You know, because we understand that the Lord actually, you know, created division amongst us, and that division that the Lord created amongst us was why the enemy was able to come in so smooth. You know, because Jake was already divided. When Esau came down on Gad, they were divided like a motherfucker.
Oh yeah.
You know, so what they were doing what? They were going to certain Gadite tribes, you know, and setting them against other Gadite tribes and making them invade them. You see that in the movie Apocalypto. You know, even the southern kingdom was divided, man.
Yeah.
You know, you had Judah beefing with Benjamin, and Levi beefing with this tribe. You know, so it's a divide and conquer aspect, and that's a curse. All right, because with that temple, going back to that temple, that was a place of unity. You know, That was a place of, you know, everybody coming and being like-minded. Just as we in this the revival of the third temple now, which is spiritual, when we all come together, we are in unison. We are in unity. Okay? We ain't gonna be going to camp and everybody's gonna be in one mindset, but then you got this guy over here talking about it's okay to eat pork.
Right.
You know? That's division. Okay? So when we cut these videos on, when we on the highways and byways, there's a level of unity as it was when we also came to the temple. Okay? It was a place of gathering. It was a place of sacrifice. You know? I guarantee you Jake felt happy when he was at that temple, man.
Especially
Right. Going down, yeah, you know, probably going through something, go down to the temple and get, take my lamb down there and do a sacrifice, man, and you know, kind of, you know, get this off of my conscience. It made you feel better. Then you had the Levitical priesthood that was established, that was going before the Most High, you know, on behalf of the nation. We didn't even have that for a minute.
Yeah.
Okay, we didn't have, you know, the priesthood established where, you know, they was going and, you know, going in the Holy of Holies and, you know, repenting for other people. But now we have that, you know.
That's right.
But I just wanted to make that quick point.
That's a beautiful point.
I had a precept for brothers.
Come.
We're going to the point with the love. This is John 15 and 13. And one thing that, you know, I remember I shared a little story real quick, brothers. On my father checked me because I had told a girl, you know, when I was younger that I loved her. My dad, he got hot, he got mad at me. He explained to me that through his understanding that love is when you lay your life down for somebody. And that's the ultimate love, because Yahweh Shah ultimately, he loved us because what? He laid his life down for us. Right. So this is John 15 and 13, and it says, greater love have no man more than this, that a man shall lay down his life for his friends. And that's the ultimate love and through the scriptures and everything, because the scriptures say lay the law on two things: love your neighbor as you love your brother as you love yourself. So if you would live for yourself and die for yourself to protect others, it's reciprocated in so many ways that creates synergy. When you have that band of string together, where it's like we all moving together. I know this man will lay his life down for me, and vice versa, and so on. You know, no enemy can come through that. And that's the ultimate level of love that Yahweh Shah is pushing us all to. And Lord willingly, we'll be able to be in those positions to maybe lay our life down for one another.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. You wanted that Deuteronomy?
Come. We get back today.
Come. This is Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 54.
Right.
So that man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil towards his brother, and towards the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children which he shall leave.
That's right. So when you look at, you know, Jake and that conduct now, man, it's a very selfish and very narcissistic mindset, man. You know, individualism, man. There's really an aspect of Western culture, man. See, in our culture, it was about unity and coming together, man. But they pushed over here, what? It's all about you. I'm going to do me. Only God can judge me.
Yep.
I'm going to do what I want to do. You see? And with that understanding, our people destroy and kill one another, man. Hey, Boosie exemplifies that ideology to the T, man.
Yep.
F God, I'm going to eat what I want to. God supposed to take care of me.
Yeah.
You know?
He at my disposal.
He at my disposal. You see? And if you think of the Most High like that, how much more so for somebody who's perceived as a nigger? That's why he doesn't mind selling people this poisonous food, making his own ramen noodles.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Liquor, you know, that's probably subpar, because the best liquor really is hundreds of dollars.
Right.
The liquor that we drink is shit.
Right.
Real true liquor, it costs thousands of dollars, man.
Yep.
Because it's actually good for your body. The liquor that they're selling us, man, is low level. You know, and Jake's getting wine and things of that nature. How much more so for somebody that's in, you know, the hood,
Right.
40s and things of that nature, man. Distilled,
Old English.
old English, it's filth.
Yeah.
You see, but he'll engage in that activity because something that's advantageous for him, man. Mm-hmm. You see, this place here has built a very wicked mindset towards one another, man. It's a dog-eat-dog mentality. Mm-hmm. And it goes back to what? The fact that we don't have that understanding of what true love is, man. Yep. That's why there's no so-called trust here. What's that talks about in Jeremiah, the 9th chapter? That's right. Trust not every brother, for every brother with ugly supplant. Mm-hmm. You see? See, with the destruction of the temple, man, and with us going into these various captivities, man, hey, we out here just doing whatever we deem is right. Right. We'll talk about that Judges, the last chapter, man. Yep. And everybody's beginning to do right in their own eyes. Mm-hmm. You see? Yep. Go ahead.
I got a quick precept. This is Isaiah chapter 3, verse 1. For behold, the Lord of hosts, doth take away from Jerusalem and from Judah the staff and the host and the state, and the whole state of bread and the whole state of water. All right, and when you go into the significance of a staff, that's support. Yeah. Okay, a staff is used for support, and the Lord took that away. Okay, the Lord took the temple away. That's why He gave authorization, because that's spiritual. We went to the Ark of Titus today. Yeah, they were the ones that destroyed the second temple. Yeah, because it was destroyed the first time by who? By the Babylonians, which was Cushites. Mm-hmm. Okay, so Cush destroyed it the first time. It was rebuilt during the time of Darius, if I'm not mistaken. Cyrus. You can read about that in the book of Ezra. Mm-hmm. All right, it was reestablished to where Israel could go and dedicate. Then after that, it was polluted by the Greeks and then destroyed. It wasn't rebuilt. It was polluted, but then it was cleaned. Yeah, it was rededicated. Which is Hanukkah. The old stones was removed. Right. They replaced it with new stones. They cleaned the shrubs. Mm-hmm. Okay, but then the Romans came in and just straight up and down just obliterated it. Yep. Stole everything, man. They still got that stuff to this day. Yep. And because of that, because of the ransacking of our temple, we wasn't able to go into the holy. After that, we just declined. We just declined. We just went into it. We just fell away, bro.
If I may, it was all spiritual because it's prophecy. Yep. Because when you read the scriptures, it was necessary. Mm-hmm. When you read in the book of Hebrews and you start to get the understanding of the Lord transitioning it from the Levitical priesthood to the order of Melchizedek, right. To from the animal sacrifice to the spiritual, to being spiritual. The temple, that's why the Lord said that the temple, that one stone shall stand. Yep. Because the temple had to go. It had to go.
And Yahweh Shai gave us a foreshadowing of that when he died. Because the first thing that happened was what? The veil of the temple rent, which the veil was the partition between the one side of the temple and the Holy of Holies. Mm-hmm. And the significance behind that veil ripping or tearing apart was because Yahweh Shai was now that partition.
That's right.
He was that propitiation. To between Israel and the Most High.
We leaned it's like because we leaned real heavy on the temple. We leaned heavy onto the Levitical priesthood. That's why when Yahweh Shai was on the scene, what happened? The high priest, they was filling themselves. Mm-hmm. They had the Sanhedrin. They had all of that time to build up the offices that they had. Mm-hmm. So the Lord had to erase it all to do what? Bring it, because the scriptures say what? If I could get one scripture, you don't mind.
Yeah, I'm gonna finish this.
Yeah. Somebody can get while he's finishing Ecclesiastes. Better as a thing. Oh yeah.
It says this Isaiah 3:2. It says, the mighty man and the man of war, the judge and the prophet, and the prudent and the ancient, the captain of 50 and the honorable man, and the counselor and the cunning artificer, and the eloquent orator.
All that was destroyed, man. And all those various men and occupations was found where?
That's right.
In the temple.
That's right, man. Ooh, this heavy.
You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You see? So having that what's the word I'm looking for? I guess the correct would be epicenter. The epicenter of a culture is very, very important, man. You see, because with that place of worship it embodied so much. You see, it embodied social economics, you know, which is, you know, social society and economics mixed together.
Mm-hmm.
You see, you would go there, you know what I'm saying, and you know, basically your income was in-house.
Yeah.
Right? And it started with what? With that standard, man.
Mm-hmm.
That manifests to a temple, that manifests into a way of life, a culture. You see? I know brother got some precepts, and then we'll get to that article.
Because like through the scripture, matter of fact, will you bring that at Ecclesiastes?
I got it real quick. That's Ecclesiastes 7 and 8. Better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof, and the patient in spirit is better than the proud in spirit.
Yes, it's better at the end of a thing, because what the scriptures read in Isaiah, the Lord got rid of all of that, because the scripture, we know, the Lord knows that Israel is very carnal, very simple at heart. So we lean on that. We lean on the officers, and he looks like a prophet. He looks like a speaker. He looks like this. He embodies this. Israel always want to look to someone with a stature to lean on. But the Lord destroyed all that to do what? Bring it back spiritual. Because why? Everybody, the same thing gonna happen again, like what the elders going into. Why? Because it says that in Isaiah, the 14th chapter, that the stranger shall cleave onto the house. So that the way that we cleaved onto the temple of old is the same way, but the thing is, it's not going to be a building. It's going to be the men of the Lord.
Right.
They can't lean on the gate that's called beautiful anymore, and the structural beauty of it. We had all that, but now everything is spiritual. Now you got to lean on the men that the Lord set up to be those pieces, man. Starting with the apostles and elders on down.
Right. That's right. Anybody have anything else? Yeah, anybody got anything else?
Ask something real quick. This is on Hosea 3 and 4.
Hold on.
Okay.
Hey, go ahead. We gonna grab this. We gonna grab this right here.
Go on.
And then, yeah, okay.
This is from ancient.eu, ancient history encyclopedia, and the article is going into the temple in Jerusalem. All right, and it reads, according to the Jewish tradition, the original Jerusalem temple was ordained by Yahweh or / God, as described in 2 Samuel 7 and 12, where Yahweh commands Nathan to tell David. It says, when your days are fulfilled and you lie down with your ancestors, I will raise up.
Okay, let's get that in the
in the King James.
Yeah, King James.
It's
2 Samuel 7 and 12.
Yeah, 2 Samuel 7 and 12.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
7 and 12. All right, this is 2 Samuel 7 and 12. And when thy days be fulfilled, and thou shalt sleep with thy fathers, I will set up thy seed after thee, which shall proceed out of thy bowels, and I will establish his kingdom. He shall build an house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever.
And right there, see, that was very pinnacle in our history, because beforehand we were basically nomadic people. So that's really us settling down, you know, in that land of Canaan, man. You know, you got to think we were warring and things of that nature. You know, during the time of Joshua, so us really just putting our foot down and really being able to establish a kingdom wasn't really tell King David, man, because look what was going on in Judges. We were mixing and mingling with the heathen.
Yep.
You see, we were still warring, trying to take it over, and Jake was still committing apostasy, which is a fancy word that means basically worshiping idols and leaving your original beliefs. Thank you, brother. You see? So when he conquered, you know what I'm saying, the Canaanites and the Edomites, you see, he was able to set up that kingdom and place his son in a situation to where his kingdom was flourished.
God.
Go ahead, my bro.
God. It says, as well as the post-exilic text, First Chronicles, they gotta be all fancy.
Yeah. Okay, bro.
Right. You know what I'm saying? First Chronicles 28, 2 through 7, where David declares, and then he goes on to basically
basically
going to
what we just read
yeah.
before. In depth.
So now it's going into the socio-economic construct of the temple. It says the construction of the first temple period marked the transition from nomadic or migrant to a settled and established lifestyle. The Israelite or Judean community was no longer mobile, and therefore the portability of the tabernacle was no longer a priority, because we used to carry the covenant. Yeah, because at that point in time, when the law was given unto us, the tablets was given unto Moses to give to the Israelites. It was placed in that ark, and that ark was carried with the Israelites until they made it to Jerusalem. When they made it to Jerusalem, they was able to build a temple and place the ark in the Holy of Holies. You know, continuing on, it says, not only was the community no longer mobile, but a monarchy was also established, representing a significant transition into the political and socio-economic way of life.
That's right. So we went from a tribal, basically a tribal group of people to having a kingdom order. That's it. You know what I'm saying? And establishing. So with that building of the temple, what did that embody? You know, that embodied really the core of our beliefs. You would go there, you would sacrifice, right? You would ask for forgiveness of sins. And also, that's where we will get our, basically, instill in our children the law, statutes, and commandments, man, which is a culture. You see? It wasn't like a church, a Babylonian church now where you'll go and you be sitting in a pool pit with sister so-and-so, she all hot about it.
Right.
No, it was separate. The man would go and they would suck with one another, and the woman would go and they would suck with one another. There was order.
You even had it where even certain tribes wasn't permitted into certain parts of the temple.
Right.
You know, only you got to a certain point of the temple where there was only Levites in that thing.
Yep.
And then not even only
Levites.
Yes, then it was sons of Aaron, you know, the chief priest. So, you know, that's order. We don't have that. You go to the neighborhoods, you got black women, you know, hanging out at the corner store with niggas.
Yeah.
You know, knowing good and goddamn well she has nothing in common with 8 niggas. Her black ass at the store smoking Black and Miles.
Yeah.
You know, selling dope too.
You
know,
today.
Yeah, we seen it today. We got a good visual, which was all through the spirit. We got a good visual of how not having like the brother said, epicenter, where we could all go and kind of flow and congregate, has totally destroyed and wiped out people away. But now the Lord has it set up to where the only place to come gather now is spiritually, and it got to be through Yahweh Shai. And that's where we find that peace. That's where we find that order. That's where we find that unity and that camaraderie. You know.
I just want to say, like, you know, that's when you look at old piece video movies, like in the 1800s when America was being established. What did they have? They had Main Street or the City Hall area. You know, you go to like up in Gwinnett and different regions, just like downtown Norcross is an area, Stone Mountain Village. You get visuals of that. And what is it always in the center of it? A church. Then you have the businesses, because like you said, the church would be, if there's a disaster you go to. But they try to take what we was established through the temple and our way of living and recreate it, but it didn't have the spirit. So that's why, you know, that whole energy of the priests of the city. Matter of fact, a good show that show you that who's the main character that they flow around on outside of the Simpsons is the preacher. Where on that series they go to church every Sunday, where everybody meets at that, because the church is or the temple in our case is what? That epicenter. Everybody came there. If this man and me meet, you know, he owns lambs, or I met the guy that owns lambs. So now that's a business connection.
There you go.
Now you're networking, as Jake always try to do, but Jake try to do it in the wrong spirit. They want to do it in well, I'm a Kimite. I believe in Kemet, and you believe in Islam. No. With that one understanding, I know that this man's not going to do me wrong, because why? If a man that stealeth from me, he has to restore 7 times. We have that understanding. Deuteronomy, the laws.
Yeah, it's a verbal contract that we have with one another.
lie not to one another.
And really, technically, it's not a verbal contract. It's a written contract that we have.
Oh, yeah, right.
According to the law and statutes command, you can't. I can't steal from you.
I can't.
I can't do that.
Hey, if I may say, I'll tell my rib this. Your rib might say this to you, like, you just do me whatever way. And I'll tell him, like, you don't even understand. I can't do it to you because I believe in a higher power.
Right.
It ain't got shit to do with you. It's just, I can't do that to you because I believe in a higher power. My laws dictate me.
That's right.
How I deal with you as a woman.
That's how we govern. That's how we govern.
That's
You know, ourselves. You know, that's how we govern ourselves. You know, through that one common law. You know, so this is very important. This is a very important lesson, you know, to go into, because the Spirit had it set up, which I wasn't even thinking about it like that, to be honest. But the Spirit had it set up to where we kind of went through rough parts of the city to kind of get a visual, and then we stopped by the Archetypus, which none of that was planned. None of that was planned. Then the Spirit had us stop by the Archetypus, and then we went up there to go and get like in that spirit of how, you know, the temple was ransacked. And within the Archetypus, what did we see? We seen all kind of Gadite artifacts that don't belong to them devils.
Right.
We seen all kind of silver pieces, silver plates, and lanterns, and, you know, just different jewels and vessels, you know, that they had within that museum under the ark. Showing you that, you know, the Most High, you know, them curses in Deuteronomy 28 is real. Right?
And that area is very, I don't know if they went into the history of that area where the Archetypus of Atlanta is. That was a really historically a steel making area. So there was a lot of Jake worked over there. A lot of Jake was, you know, because, you know, at a time where there was a time in Atlanta where, you know, Negroes were running this place.
That's why they called it the New South.
That's why they call it the New South. So even that, the very fact that they put that ark there is still a symbolism of us conquering you very much so in their city. Because who lives over there now by that place? A so-called successful Jake.
Right, that's right.
But Jake, you still defeated because you're still living on his land. You're still working his job. So he still has that visual right there in your face. Like, man, I still got y'all beaten. You don't even know why this is here.
That's right.
And the good point too is when you read about the Ark of the Covenant and its significance to, you know, the Edomites, they say, well, this symbolizes basically three civilizations: Egypt, Rome, and Greece, which was the beginning of civilization. You see, and that same vibration is what our people are governed under.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? So when we went underneath, like, because there's an underneath passage that you go and look at the museum, man, we seen monuments of Zeus.
Yeah, Zeus, he was tucked off and
Zeus.
It didn't even have no name. You gotta kind of guess who it is.
What is this?
We didn't even want to walk in the room.
Yeah, it was a crazy aura.
It was uncomfortable.
But then what's crazy is they had like some of the oldest I forget the term for it. Replicas of Luke.
Yeah,
in the Greek.
the gospel.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In the Greek. You know what I'm saying? Then what's funny is they had the popes renditions of Pope on the side. And they just let you know, like, this is an amalgamation of different religions, you know what I'm saying, that we use to put these people under subjection.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Right there under the ark.
Under the ark.
Which that ark commemorates, you know, the Edomites for ransacking and destroying the temple at Jerusalem. So Esau still pushes that as a pinnacle moment in their history. The demise of us.
Yeah, right.
You know? So that's why now this third temple is being rebuilt, but now it's not tangible. Okay? This is not a tangible, you can't put this third temple in the GPS.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know, you can't put it in, you know, we everywhere.
I got something.
Come on.
Good, that's a good.
So Acts 7 and 48, how you said that can't put it in GPS. Howbeit the Most High dwelleth not in temples made with hands. As said the prophet, all right, heaven is my throne and earth is my footstool. What house will ye build me, saith the Lord. Hey, so the temple is really spiritual. All right, you know, and you know, going back to what brothers were saying about how Jake nowadays we basically don't have a temple But they go to those churches, and guess what? They're not fulfilled. Because that whole spirit of the church is, come one, come all. So they let Edomites in. They let but Jake doesn't have their own, place of worship that's designated for them. A spirit somewhere where they can, really dwell with the Lord. But that was it's a little bit more. Said the Lord, or what is the place of my rest? That was the point.
You have some too, right?
Yeah, that's what.
Okay, come on. Just a little something quick to show you how important, the gathering of the temple was. And it's a beautiful point that the elder Machiavelli was saying. The temple was established or built during the time of Solomon. We all know who that was at the time in 1 Kings 6. But I just had a quick account of when King Josiah actually humbled himself when he came to the temple during the time of when Hilkiah was the high priest. So I'll read verse 8 and then skip to verse 14. So 2 Kings 22 and 8, it says, "And Hilkiah the high priest said unto Shaphan the scribe, I have found the book of the law in the house of the Lord. And Hilkiah gave the book to Shaphan, and he read it." So skipping down to verse 14, it says, "So Hilkiah the priest and Ahikam and Akbor and Shaphan and Azariah went unto Hodal the prophetess, the wife of Shalom, and said, the son of Tikva, the son of Harhas, keeper of the wardrobe. Now she dwelt in Jerusalem in the college, and they communed with her." And when I got this word college,
I was thinking that.
The word college means an organization, an organized association of persons invested with certain powers and rights or engaged in some common duty or pursuit. Now you notice they went to Jerusalem.
Yeah, right.
Okay, that's where the temple is going to be located. Okay, that's where the Bishop Atazwan said earlier. There's 3 times out of the year where we go down to Jerusalem. Okay, and when you gather into the temple, you read the law. You're around individuals who have a common duty or pursuit with you. So everybody who's of a like mind,
They'll want you to rip that shirt off.
Be offended.
They'll be offended by it because they understood what they went through and accomplished by going through that. It's a fraternal. That's why the temple was mainly what? Now there was women there, but it was mainly a gathering of men, a fraternal order. That's why college is a heavy thing, and Esau took that away from us. But when you apply that to the temple, you held that near and dear, like this is mine. These are my letters, my alma. I hate to use their terminology, but to tie it in, this is my alma mater. Like Jake in the world will kill about their so-called alma mater.
And the same thing happened with Boosie recently. He wore that sweater, that Kappa sweater, and they was getting, Jake was jumping out about that. Because they take it serious, which is the same thing with going up to, the brotherhood that we have now. It's the same thing, but it's in the spirit.
That's right. Yeah, that's right, bro. I'm gonna continue on in this article. It says, I'm just reading back up. It says the tabernacle was no longer a priority. Not only was the community no longer mobile, but a monarchy was also established, representing a significant transition in the political and socio-economic way of life. Interestingly enough, within close proximity to the temple, a palace was established, architecturally symbolizing to the Israelites that Yahweh was working through the king. In a sense, the temple became the king's private chapel.
So it was order that was set up because of the temple. Because of the influence of the temple, man. You see? And symbolically speaking, what's being set up in the spirit now. You see? Order.
That's right.
Okay? That's being set up, man. Which is very, very pinnacle for any organization, man.
Yeah.
A reverence to who's in charge. Okay? That's why this thing of ours is likened unto a body. What's that in 1 Corinthians, the 12th chapter?
Yep.
You see? Perfect. A well-organized machine. Same thing with our with the temple. in the palace. It's a real organized machine. Everybody had, certain obligations that they played. And if somebody was off, whether it be a priest, whether it be the king, it was a reflection on the health of the body or the people. If a high priest was going off, that was something that was heinous. It wasn't just a small thing.
Right.
The sacrifice was something that's very particular.
Yeah.
Right.
You see, if he was bringing in various items and things of that nature, that's something that's very particular. And what happened? Well, a curse would happen, man. Mm-hmm. Same thing with a physical body. You putting something in your body that's not advantageous to it, right? Or that's going to corrupt it. What is the body going to do? Well, it's going to eventually shut down, right? Or try to get that toxin out of it. You see, you ever eat some chicken that you ain't cooked well enough on a grill? You was like, I throw this up.
Yeah,
this ain't right, baby.
Yeah.
Your body will let you know.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
That's right. It's coming.
Yep.
I gotta we gotta get this battery.
Yeah, or your body, it'll turn the solid into a liquid form so fast, so just to push it out. That's where you get diarrhea from. Because it's something in your system where it don't turn into a solid. The body compresses all of that solid into a liquid. It's like, man, how the hell it turn into a liquid that fast? Just so you can get it, so it can pass through, because it's a virus in there. And that's the same thing within the body. I'm talking about the spiritual body. That's why we all must hold ourselves, like what's been like one of the key words of the day, accountability. We all got to hold ourselves accountability on the construct of the body.
That's right.
Okay?
Because we are one of those stones.
Mm-hmm.
You see? Well, it talks about that in 1 Corinthians, the 3rd chapter. And it talks about that in 1 Peter's, I want to say the 1st chapter too, if I'm not mistaken, man. We're a part of that
Precious stones.
Those precious stones, man.
Chief cornerstone.
But every man has to be conscious of how he's built.
That's right.
Yeah.
You see?
Yep. Let every man take heed on how he build thereon. So, because you have certain guys that come along and they begin to put certain pieces of the puzzle in the wrong place. Now you're throwing off the whole picture. That's why the scripture says it's better that you cut out one member of the body that the rest of the body suffer not. Roughly paraphrasing. But in order for this thing to flow like a well-oiled machine, like the elder was saying, is accountability. Everybody got to play their part. Everybody has to play their part. Everybody got to fit into the structure that Yahweh Bashim Shai set up and be the greatest you that you can be. Shine that light.
That's right.
Be humble. Stay humble. Pray for humility. If I may add this quick little bullet point in there, humility should be in your daily prayer.
That's right.
And the Hebrew word for humility is I know why. That should be a daily prayer, because why? Because the opposite of humility is what? Pride. That's the polar opposite of humility. And that's when one begins to depart from the Lord. And when we read in the Chronicles and in the Kings, we'll see majority of these wicked kings that came about. Why did they come? Why were these kings turning into wicked or turning wicked? Through pride.
It's a fool, boy.
Because we just read in the article, the palace was where? It was right there by the temple. They was getting all high-minded, and they on the level. And next thing you know, they going into the temple, committing wicked sacrifices, getting everybody else in fucking trouble. Through, you know what I'm saying? Now the Levites start going off, then the rest of the tribes start going off, then the Lord bringing the Babylonians and knock it down. Because the sacrifices that's going up in the Holy of Holies is polluted.
Smoking his nose.
Smoking his nose. You don't know. Gotta bring that down.
What is it? So is the king, so is the people? I think it's the
Sirach 10. So even the king must be in conjunction with the Holy Spirit in order for every part of the body to flow properly. You know what I'm saying?
Because if I may add, because when you go into the law, which I want to read, I'll let you get your precept, but when you read Deuteronomy the 17th chapter, that's a chapter that goes directly into how the king you addressing the king. But then what follows Deuteronomy 17, Deuteronomy 18, that goes into what? The prophet. Because they go hand in hand with each other.
Yes,
Most
right.
of our greatest kings were what? Prophets.
That's right.
King David was a prophet also.
Yep.
So
And
that whole lineup, he represented the temple and the order of it, the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. And he also represented what? The high-ranking order, because they one in the same. Cesare Borgia showed you that. That's why he wanted that pope position. He didn't want to be the king. He wanted to be the pope, because that was you embodied the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. So the man for us was what? King David. He was the king. He was the eye of the apple of the Lord, and also he was what? He represented the spirit. I got a precept, but go ahead with yours.
This is 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 16. It says, what agreement hath the temple of the Most High with idols? It says, for ye are the temple of the living power, as power has said, as the Most High have said, I will dwell in them and walk in them, and I will be their power, and they shall be my people. And I was just wanted to I'll bring that up because of what the elders were saying, but that goes along with what you're saying with the embodiment of the temple, being the prophet and the king at one time. It says, verse 17, wherefore come out from among them and be ye separate, saith the Lord, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you. Verse 18, and I will be a father unto you, and ye shall be my sons and daughters, saith the Lord Almighty.
And that's all that what Yahweh Shai represented. Okay, because Yahweh Shai, he under the order of Melchizedek, he became. Well, first of all, we go to the prophecy in Isaiah 9. It says the government shall be upon his shoulders. So he's the king, right? But he's also the high priest.
That's right.
And he's the top prophet, the one that Israel's supposed to listen to.
That's right.
And then underneath him are those, because it talks about well, it says that we're going to be, that he maketh us to be the sons of the Most High. That's John the 1st chapter. So the rest of the rulers and kings of the nation that comes underneath Yahweh Shai, we represent also to that new temple.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
I had to go with the king. This is Deuteronomy 17 and 18. Now, a few verses up, it tells you that the king's not supposed to multiply horses and wives, because what does that breed? Pride. But Deuteronomy 17 and 18, it says, and it shall be, when he sitteth upon the throne of his kingdom, that he shall write him a copy of this law and a book out of that which is before the priests, the Levites. And it shall be with him, and he shall read therein all the days of his life, that he may learn to fear the Lord his power, to keep all his statutes, the words of this law and these statutes, to do them. Because the king, as the elders said in the Sirach, the 10th chapter, so is the king, so is the people. So we got a king that fears the Lord, keeps the law, statutes, and commandments. He embodies the spirit. He shows you that he has because of this, he was able to gain these riches, deal with this. You have a role model. That's really what it comes down to. Jake don't have a role model. Jake don't have, our people don't necessarily have those individuals that they yearn for. Like that's what I want to be like. I want to, and we have it, but that's why we're here to proclaim those people. You know, but that's what Jake is yearning for, that example of like, you know what, I want to be like those men, because those men, they respect the Lord, they got the riches, they got the women, they got the land. That's the man right there. All because, and what is a man that's like that going to do? Give it right back to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai.
That's right. You know? Which is why the temple was so closely located to the palace.
To the palace.
You know what I'm saying? Because and that's why. Oh, when you go into it, which I'm gonna read that part. You know, that's a beautiful part in the article. It says, Salakia. It says, okay, here we go. It says the temple, a palace was established, architecturally symbolizing to the Israelites that Yahweh was working through the king. In a sense, the temple became the king's private chapel, representing the temple as an elitist form of worship. You know,
that's it.
That was top level worship. You know what I'm saying? It didn't get. It don't matter what belief system it was, that order, that structure that we had was killing it.
Yep.
Nobody had that. They didn't have that level of order and construct that we had to worship our power. You know, and that's what separated the Israelites from the other nations. That's why it tells us, it was that Deuteronomy 4 and 6. It said, this is your wisdom in the sight of the nations. I can't remember exactly how it goes, but it was because we were a wise and understanding people, and how we governed ourselves. So that's why, you know, in these times now, you know, we've been speaking heavily on what? Self-governance. You know, governing your own self. You know, the scriptures say a man that have no rule over his spirit is like a broken city. But that's basically like not having a border around the temple. It's easily accessible. Your enemies can come in and destroy it. And that's the same thing with your spirit. There must be certain spiritual barriers that you don't cross. And you have to have a spiritual protection. You know, like if you get a warrant, if you get a car, you know, a car will usually come with some form of protection. All right? That's the same thing with our vessel. We have a vessel, a spirit inside the vessel, and we also must have a level of insurance or protection, which is what? The law, statutes, and commandments. It protects us from destroying our vessel where the temple dwells.
That's right.
You know? Now, if you destroy your vessel where the temple dwells, eventually what happens? I mean, if you destroy your temple where the spirit dwells, what happens? The spirit leaves you.
Right.
Because it's unclean.
Right.
It's not flowing properly. You nasty as hell. You know what I'm saying? I gotta get out of here. You know, it ain't, you know, he's just talking shit all the time. He's mean as fuck. You know, he's just an asshole.
Right.
He's
not encouraging.
Instant. He just loves instant gratification. He loves to feed his flesh and his desires. You know, he's not charitable. He's obnoxious. These are the things that corrupts that insurance policy. You know, and next thing you know, boom, you out of there. You're done. So this all goes back to having an elitist mindset when it comes down to your sacrifice.
Yep.
Now our sacrifices is not lambs and sheep and turtle doves. Now it's all what we say.
It's what we do.
We speaking, what we doing, what we exemplifying.
We are that sacrifice. You see what I'm saying? And also, you know, symbolically speaking, we are that temple. You see, so we want to be as pristine as possible. And that takes what? Refinement of yourself. You see?
That's right.
You know?
I'm going to finish it out real quick. It says, presenting the temple as an elitist form of worship, a concept that was strengthened by the power of the developing priestly class. So the priest had a role in the order of the temple that actually strengthened the power of it. Because that's why the priests had to always do it. They had to always be clean. They always had to wash their hands. They had to wash their body. And, you know, they had to stay on point. Because as they stayed on point and they continued to give the sacrifices of our nation, the Lord began to create a level of sacrifice that was uncanny. You know, nobody was able to understand how the Israelites was moving like this. You know, like these guys. That's why they bad. That's why when I can't remember, was it Queen of Sheba?
Yeah, no, you're right.
When she came and she was like, whoa. I think she thought she must slip the doorman.
He thought the doorman was Solomon.
Yeah,
That's where it's at right there.
that's cold.
That's where it's at, right?
And we can be that.
And you know, if I may add, what's so heavy about that lineage between the temple and King Solomon's house and what it represented is what? The fact that Solomon didn't get those riches because of his own will. He got that because he had the wisdom of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. And the riches was just kind of like the side effect of the spirit.
Right.
That's the thing about it. Like the scriptures give us the wisdom to understand what? Store thy treasures in heaven. And everything else, and the rest will be added to you. Set your heart upon the kingdom of heaven, everything will be added. So we have all these examples. And all of those went back to that lineage. And that's what we're striving to be representatives of. If we want to be those king priests. Oh, that's the scriptures. Can we get that? You mind if I get that in Revelation?
Bring it out, bro.
Oh, yeah, 5 and 11.
Revelation, yeah. Because the scriptures, the Lord says what? And also, if you get was it Exodus 19 too?
Yep, that's it. Bro.
Because the Lord already had it written in the spirit of what we were meant to be, but we fell off, which was the destruction of the second temple going into the third temple. You got a Revelation?
It's Revelation 5 and 10, and has made us. Let me see if I start there. Yeah. It says, and they sung a new song, saying, "Thou art worthy to take the book and to open the seals thereof, for thou wast slain, and hast redeemed us to the Most High by thy blood, out of every kindred and tongue and people and nation, and hast made us unto our power kings and priests."
Kings and priests. There's levels to it. And that's what we're striving for. We're striving to embody in the spirit what it is to be a king of Israel, and what it also is to be a high priest of Israel. And that's what we're on the journey of. The Lord is training us up. That's why it says that there's an appointed time with the tutors and governors. Because we're having to get this on the go to learn how to also be kings and also be able to give the sacrifices. And that's in captivity. That's a hell of a combination.
You're making us step our game up.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, because if you just won, you bad.
Yeah.
If you just a high priest, you bad.
That's true.
If you just a king, you bad. But to embody both.
In captivity,
That's heavy.
you know, in this, you know, where we didn't even have, you know, our fathers, you know, taught us, you know, how to abide as a priest or a king or anything like that. We just raw straight coming through the spirit.
School of hard knocks,
man. And that's what's going to separate, you know, the Israel of the Most High, that elite, the Israel of the Most High from everybody else. You know, but you got it, bro.
You got that in the Exodus.
It's just a little, and we shall reign on the earth.
Yeah, because if you could, who can come against you? That's like we always like the bishop always pushed this point. Not to be long with it, but you always push that point about, you know, we always looking for the Lord to do certain things, but we already getting those things right now on how to be. Yep. And that spirit of being. Could you read that again real quick? That last.
Yeah, it says, and has made us unto our power kings and priests, and we shall reign on the earth.
Because when we have that understanding, it's not going. That's spiritual power to be able to reign as a king and a priest. These other nations, they're not going to have the kingly mind frame, the mind frame of war to step up against us. They're not even going to have the spirituality to step up against us. And that's two elements that they show you. Even Esau has that in his kingdom. He has the 3 city states. He has DC as his military. He has this financial side. He has his religious side, which is the Vatican. Once we get that, and we through the spirit, and we have that, and that energy of everybody under Yahushua, King David. The 12 apostles on down, no nation could come against that because there's too much spirit in that.
That's right.
It's just too much spirit.
If I can make a point, adding on to your point, the fact that Israel, the elect is going to be the elites, man, because you got the gates of the kingdom. That's gonna be exclusive, and you know,
12 gates.
The 12 gates. You ain't gonna be able to just stroll up in there. That's for particular
people.
That's for the kings and priests.
It tell you that in Revelation that the Most High Himself gonna be within that temple in New Jerusalem. The Spirit of the Lord, like Yahweh Himself, gonna dwell, within that. You know, so that right there alone is showing you that it ain't just gonna be anybody just crip walking down the streets of gold. You know what I'm saying? Just straight cooling it. Top notch. Yeah, it's gonna be the cream of the crop. Those that was with Yahweh Bashan Shai from the beginning.
That's right.
That was predestined. You know? Okay, and we'll get a couple of more precepts. We'll go ahead and
I got something real quick.
This
Luke 17. And let's see, 20. It says, and when he was demanded of the Pharisees when the kingdom of the Most High should come, he answered them and said, the kingdom of the Most High cometh not with observation. Right? Because going into, because we're going into the temple, before it was a physical thing. The nations could come in and they could destroy the temple. They could see it.
That's right.
Okay, those are the Israelites that's their temple, that's their kingdom over there, right? But Yahweh Shai told him, look, the kingdom on the Most High is not going to come on observation. And like the brother said earlier, that you know, there's no GPS to go to the temple now. You know,
Exactly.
So it says, neither shall they say, lo here or lo there. For behold, the kingdom of the Most High is within you. So the kingdom, the temple, the Holy Spirit, Yahweh Shai, he dwelleth within you. So when Jerusalem does come down from heaven to rule and reign on the earth as kings and priests, all right, we're going to exemplify that, but it starts with us learning and walking with wisdom now. So we'll be those clean, righteous vessels for the Lord to say, okay, these are my sons who I am well pleased. The same way that he told Yahweh Shai.
That's right, bro.
You know?
That's right. You know, and it just goes to show that, you know, the times that we're living in now is symbolic of the Lord reopening and rededicating that temple. That's right. You know, through the elect, which was the perfect way.
That's right.
Anyway, that's the best way to rededicate, because you had niggas up in the temple. That's why Yahweh Shai, what did Yahweh Shai do? And what was that, John the 2nd chapter? You know, he called them den of thieves. Because what were they doing? They were selling, they were basically selling a repentance kit.
Yeah.
You know, that's some nigga shit, man. You know, stealing prayers from the Most High. Like, look, man, just gonna do that shit, man. Look, I got some dirt doves for the law. I got some turtle doves for the low. Just do what you do. Just pull up on me. You know, I get you right, my boy. That's what they was doing.
That's exactly what they were doing.
They had. That's why it say Yahweh Shai drove out the oxen and he overturned the tables. He called them a den of thieves. You know. So now that was going on, the Lord clean slate. Y'all is out. You get out of my face, man. I'm gonna reestablish this temple through those that were with me from the beginning, and it's gonna be in them. Y'all ain't gonna be able to just access it. The only way you're going to be able to access this third temple is through faith. It's a big game changer there.
It's a big game changer.
You know? So now we got to just wholeheartedly believe in that veil.
That's right.
That propitiation in order to enter into that level of sacrifice. Now you got to go through Yahweh Shai.
That's why Old Testament, man. You Old Testament Israelites.
You gonna get it.
Y'all are lost, man. Because the fact of it is that you're not even... Your Old Testament, but how many of y'all are sacrificing turtle doves every time you sin?
Right.
How many drink offerings are you offering? How many sheaves of weed and all of this that you have to do to keep yourself in tune with the Spirit? Whereas now it's spiritual. You atone for your sins. You ask for forgiveness in the Spirit of Yahweh.
It's easier.
It's easier. Yeah. So where are you? Man. You Old Testament. You're out of that, man.
Yes. That's right, man. You know. So did anybody else have any precepts? You got a quick one?
Yeah, Amos 9:11. In that day I will raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof, and I will raise up his ruins and will build it as in the days of old.
Yeah, so you know Yahweh Shai Shai is doing what? He's rebuilding that tabernacle of David, that house of David. Okay? Which is with the elect, pursuant to what? 2 Peter the 2nd chapter. That's right. Alright? Or 1 Peter the 2nd chapter, one or the other, the 5th verse. Say, ye are lively stones. I have raised up lively stones. Okay? Ye are a spiritual house. That's the brotherhood, man.
That's it.
1 Corinthians 3:9 says what? We are laborers together with the Most High. Ye are the Lord's husbandry. Ye are the Lord's building. Okay? We are the building. You got to go through brothers to get to Yahweh Shai now. Just as we had to go through who? The apostles and elders, because the apostles and elders went through who? Through their elders that went through Yahweh Shai. So it's an order. Before you could get into the Holy of Holies, you had to go through the layers of the temple, bro. You know, when you was in a church back in the book of Acts, if you was traveling, you got to go through that church. You got to pull up on that church first.
Main gate.
You know, you got to check in. That's why the apostle said, hey, that's why this brother, through the Spirit, hey, this brother traveling around. Oh, okay. This brother traveling around, but what was the first thing he do? Pull up on the brothers.
That's right.
You know, because it's vice versa. If we was to be moving around and going place to place, the first place we got to check in at is who? With our government.
That's right.
With our economy. You know? which is that's how the Lord is establishing it now.
That's right.
Okay. Yahushua ain't just dealing with us.
Right.
He got people set in place. That's why he said, "What? I get the angels charge over thee."
That's right.
That's why. Again, like you said, there's no temple to go to. So that Isaiah the 14th chapter, the first verse is heavy. The strangers shall cleave unto them.
Cleave unto them.
So that we had to cleave onto, like Yahushua came into the flesh, he proclaimed his Father. But we're not, truthfully speaking, we're not proclaiming Yahweh. We're proclaiming Yahweh through his son Yahushua.
That's right. That's right.
So we're Yahushua, your worship Yahushua. That's why we push that name. That's the key. And it's going to do the same thing. The Lord going to give that glory. Lord willing, we be part of that number. Towards where Obadiah, was the 18th verse? He's raising up saviors. So they're going to have to cleave onto this third temple. That's the men. You can't go around it. You got to clean. All of you, even you scoffers, man. It's like I just,
Bring it out, bro.
even you scoffers, because you scoffers, you trying to go another way through too. That's why the Lord says in Revelation the 3rd chapter that what you Jews, you synagogue of Satan, you're going to bow down to them and bow down to their feet. So because you got to go through you got to go through the order of things. You can't go no other way. We can't go no other way but through the apostles and elders.
That's right.
That's how we had to come. That's why we give double honors to the apostles and elders, because we entered into their word.
Their labor. Yeah.
Their labor, you know?
That's right. That's right. Yep. Anybody has some? Nah, I end up on this.
We close out on that.
Kind of. This is the book of Hosea, chapter 3, verse 4. For the children of Israel shall abide many days without a king, and without a prince, and without a sacrifice, and without an image, and without an ephod, and without a teraphim. Which essentially, a lot of things synonymous with the temple, man. You know, we lost that, man, through the various captivities, man. You know, that's why through the years, Jacob's become very dysfunctional, man. They don't have any order. All right, the Lord took those things away. But then verse 5, it says, afterward shall the children of Israel return. We're seeing that now. All right, so the Lord is gathering his people by the word, man. Like you read on, what's that, Isaiah 34:16, seek ye out the book of the Lord and read. None shall want her mate, for my mouth hath commanded, and my spirit hath gathered them. The spirit of the Lord is what gathered the stones. You know, the word of the Lord gathered different stones together and it's bringing them together.
Bro, it's like to cut you off.
No,
that word teraphim.
Yeah.
If you look it up, it goes into an image. Or also it says a healer. A healer. Who is that? That's coming with healing in his wings.
That's right.
Yahushua. They say we're gonna dwell many years without that teraphim. We didn't have the image. You had niggas out here, you know, acting like they was Michael Jordan. Niggas out here, you know, acting like they was, you know, Young Jeezy, Snoop, Gucci,
That's right.
Migos, Martin Luther King,
Reverend Ron.
right? You know, Ralph David Abernathy. You know, just walking around just trying to follow a nigga, man.
Elijah Muhammad.
Right? You know, it's like, yo, niggas just following any and everything that tries to exalt itself.
That's right.
You know, but that was not the image.
Right.
That wasn't the way. This is the way that we should walk.
This is it.
All right. That's why the scriptures tell us in what is that? Isaiah 30. It says, "Ye shall hear a voice
That's it.
behind you, saying, This is the way. Walk ye in it.
That's
when
right.
you turn to the right or when you turn to the left, that way is Yahushua.
That's right.
That's been the image the whole time.
That's it.
Which is why the Lord charges us to walk in that image.
That's right.
And it's not a physical image now. Now we're talking about a spiritual image. How do you produce a spiritual image? That's different. That's a different image than what we're used to following. You know, everybody was walking around with the Jabos on, the Air Force Ones. And that's easy to do. You just go cop that shit. But the Lord said, this is the way, walk ye in it, and it's spiritual. That means the acquisition of it is going to be tedious. It's going to take accountability. It's going to take your ass being in order. That's how you're going to get it back. Accountability, bro. Being on point. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, bro. You finish it off.
Verse 5. This is, afterwards shall the children of Israel return and seek the Lord their power.
Man, and how are we doing that? Well, the brothers brought it out beautifully, man. We're doing that understanding of Yahushua. That's right. We're seeking the Lord, man. With us seeking the Lord, what are we doing? We're building that spiritual temple.
That's it.
You see, that's why it's so important. Going back against what brother said is to have that accountability, man. You see, because you are a part of that building. You see, if you building and you drop a brick and that brick breaks into pieces, what are you gonna do with that brick? You gonna throw it away? What did John say? He said, basically, loosely paraphrasing, he makes stones cry out. You see? So don't think you're special because he can make a stone cry out.
Man, so he can raise up the stones. Yeah.
All we know is lively stones.
Yeah, that's right. The Lord prophesied through a donkey.
But he said that to say, look, somebody else will come and take your place, man. If you're not being solid.
That's right.
You see? You see? Go ahead,
Yep. It says, seek the Lord their power and David their king, and shall fear the Lord and his goodness in the latter days.
That's right. And we are in those days.
That's right.
We are in those days, man. You know, the Most High willing, this was edifying. I don't know if anybody else got anything.
That's fine.
Okay. We want to give all praises to
Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash.
Hey, double honors to the apostles and elders that rule well. And peace and blessings to you brothers out there that's keeping his word, sincerity, also in truth. Shalom.
Shalom.